Jessica, the police commissioner is calling this a senseless act of violence. We know the victim is a 40-year-old woman from right here in the city who is now dead after she was fatally pushed onto subway tracks earlier today.
Now, I could do a story like this every single day. No, scratch that. I could do a story like this every single week in New York. This happens so much. I mean, this happens a lot in New York City. R.I.P. to the woman. We know who did this. Everyone knows who did this. Every time, I would say, other stories I cover, and you guys know, I watch a lot of New York news, even though I don't do a lot of stories on them all the time, because it's just so much, it's redundant. Like every day someone's getting slashed on the train. Every week someone's getting pushed on the tracks. It becomes redundant, but we're going to cover it more because they have a mayor there, Eric Adams, who's very, very, very vocal about cleaning this stuff up. Okay?
You can look at a jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun could be hidden, a small caliber weapon could be hidden inside a jewelry box. Look at the various colognes and perfumes and photos and pictures. You should always, when your child brings in his popular knapsack with many different locations, look through it to see what exactly is your child carrying in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe, a used crack pipe. Could he have found it on the street? That's quite possible. But this is a discussion piece where you should start speaking with him to find out what is he doing with it and the whole use of drugs. This invokes conversations. Look at picture frames and behind them, cameras. Try to determine what's taking place. Behind a picture frame, you can find bullets. What does that mean to find bullets? Does it mean your child is carrying a gun? No. Where there's smoke, there's possible fire. Where there's a bullet, there's possibly a gun. You should engage in the conversation and find out what are they doing with the item, and this empowers the parents. Look at all the items inside the room and feel around and see what's the possibility. Something simple as a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillows and see if you feel anything that's unusual. Like a pillow like this with a button is a perfect invitation to hide something. And I felt something bumpy. I will reach in, see what it is. This one could be hidden inside a pillow.
We begin tonight with that tragic death at the Times Square subway station. Just after 9:30 this morning, police say a man pushed an Asian woman into a moving train, killing her. CBS 2's Kieran Dillon is live tonight at the scene with the very latest. Kieran?
Jessica, the police commissioner is calling this a senseless act of violence. We know the victim is a 40-year-old woman from right here in the city who is now dead after she was fatally pushed onto subway tracks earlier today.
This incident was unprovoked, and the victim does not appear to have had any interaction with the subject.
Saturday, Police Commissioner Keechant Sewell and Mayor Eric Adams joined MTA Acting Chair Janno Lieber to condemn.
Wait, that's the police commissioner? And that's the mayor? Good luck, New York. Good luck.
This incident was unprovoked, and the victim does not appear to have had any interaction with the subject.
Saturday, Police Commissioner Keechant Sewell and Mayor Eric Adams joined MTA Acting Chair Janno Lieber to condemn the violence that took the life of a 40-year-old Asian American woman.
This is a sad day. A New Yorker was going about her business right in the heart of our city, in the heart of our subway system in Times Square, and she lost her life.
Police say it happened at the Times Square station around 9:40 in the morning Saturday. It's alleged a man shoved a 40-year-old Asian woman onto the southbound Q train tracks and was fatally struck. Before that, police allege he was also taunting another woman who was able to escape unharmed.
He approaches her, he gets in her space, she gets very raised up, very alarmed. She tries to move away from him, and he gets close to her, and she feels that he was about to physically push her onto the train. As she's walking away, she witnesses the crime where he pushes our other victim in front of the train.
Police say after the incident, the suspect turned himself in. He is known to police with a record of 3 prior emotionally disturbed incidents. Officials add there was a warrant out for his arrest for allegedly violating parole in connection to a previous robbery.
I find it very disheartening to see this. It's a sign to me that the city is starting to fray.
Last week, the mayor and governor announced a joint safety plan to make the subway system safer. It includes teams of trained mental health professionals working to get the homeless off the subways, as well as bringing desk officers and patrol cops into the system. That will free up transit cops to ride trains. The mayor is now reiterating that plan.
We're going to continue to do everything that's possible to make our subway system safe.
So police have yet to release the identity of the victim. Her family is still being notified of her death. We are live tonight in Times Square. Kieran Dillon, CBS 2 News.
Kieran, thank you. And Governor Hochul tweeted, quote, horrified by the tragedy at Times Square today. My heart is with the victims' loved ones and with all who witnessed and responded to the devastation.
So they're going totally woke in New York. A female governor, son mayor, son police chief. The DA wasn't Letitia, that lady. I think she ran for governor, but she lost, right? So did she go back to her old job as the DA, the district attorney, or the attorney general for New York? I don't know. It's a mess up there, man. It's a tough city to govern, too. Like, if you've ever been to New York, it's just, like, huge. Like, one of the boroughs is like a whole city. Like, literally. Not even the borough, like, part of the borough. Like, my family, they live in Jamaica, Queens. Like, South Jamaica, Queens is like a whole city to itself. Just the south part. Literally like an entire city. And that's just one neighborhood in Queens. So it's like, it's tough. I mean, they got their hands full up there, man. I don't know if this is the crew to tackle the job, though.
We will continue working with the mayor to ensure everyone feels safe in our subway system. And according to the latest data from the NYPD, there is a more than 100% increase in overall transit crimes in 2022 compared to the same time last year.
What they won't tell you is that last year was a record. Last year blew 2020 out the water. And what else they won't tell you is 2020 blew 2019 out of the water. So they're going to make it seem like, oh, they always try to compartmentalize crime. That's what these cities do. They're good at that. You know, keep their numbers low. Like, well, you know, it's a 107% increase from 2021. It's like a 1,000% increase from 2019.
And according to the latest data from the NYPD, there is a more than 100% increase in overall transit crimes in 2022 compared to the same time last year. 58 incidents so far in the first 9 days of 2022 compared to 28 in the first 9 days of 2021. New information now on a deadly subway push in the heart of the city. Police have arrested a suspect and charged him with murder. 61-year-old Simon Marshall is accused of shoving a woman into a moving subway train at the Times Square station.
So for the second time in a week, and only because these are high-profile cases, this happens every day, several times a day in New York City, hundreds of times a day all across the country. You got a suspect, a suspect being led out to a car in handcuffs, yelling and screaming at the cameras and the police. After a heinous crime, you had the one at Burger King, the girl gave up the money and he still killed her. Then you got this, where the woman was just standing on the platform and he shoved her in front of the train. And if they had one in the whole country, if there was one case like this in the whole country, I wouldn't care if it was a cop, an off-duty cop, a homeowner during a home invasion. If they had one case where they felt like they could put it in front of the public of a son man being killed and just not even wrong, just something where they could, it's not 1,000, the glider wasn't 1,050% in the right. If he was just 995% right, but there was a 5% chance that he could have done something, it might have been this, that would be the #1 story in the country. They don't even have one right now, y'all. I just want y'all to think about that. They don't have one. We all know who's committing the crime in this country, the violent crime. We all know who's ruining lives and doing this stuff, just destroying people's lives. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. Even the liberal media, by the fact that they'll search, if they had one case where a brother, hit somebody with a bat and the guy returned with a gun, and then it was like, well, see, he could have just went and got a bat. He didn't have to shoot him. They don't even have that. It's one group of people committing all the crime in this country.